One of the things that we can do to improve our emotional intelligence is to first become aware of just what's going on internally when we get triggered. Because what we now know, using the neuroscience of the last 20 or 30 years, which was advanced by the use of MRIs, that we could actually study the live brain. We know that there is a center part of our brain called the limbic brain that gets activated significantly when we are triggered. And we have increased neuronal firing, we have increased release of brain chemicals or neurotransmitters, all of which relate to our different emotions. And so when we get triggered, our brainwave activity spikes up. And what we now know, that some people will get there faster, some people get there slower. But once we are triggered, it can actually take up to as much as 72 hours for that brainwave activity and chemical levels to settle back down to that pre-trigger state. So what's one of the first things that we can do from an emotionally intelligent perspective is one, to learn to be in the moment. Be in the moment. What's going on for me? What am I feeling internally? Is it that pit of the stomach, that rapid heartbeat, that shallow breathing? We know that each of those areas can produce physical side effects, gastrointestinal disorders, maybe hypertension or high blood pressure. And certainly shallow breathing is associated with panic attacks. All of those are precursors to understanding what goes on up here. Because when we get triggered, we are triggered by what we see and what we hear long before we ever make sense of what's actually being said. So stop. Pay attention. Be in that moment. What is your reaction when you get triggered? Where do you feel it? And the best thing that we can do, because we already do it, is to take 3 or 4 deep breaths. Why 3 or 4? Because that's the amount of time it actually takes from the brain signals to get from here, our automatic brain, all the way up to up here, which is our human brain, the executive brain. It's up here where we are thoughtful, logical, rational, problem solving. But it's inside that brain where we get triggered. And when we react in the moment, that's exactly what it is. It's an emotional reaction, an emotional reaction. So if we want to improve how we come across, the first step is be in the moment. Then breathe through that moment 3 or 4 times, and then break free from that moment by taking positive, logical courses of action rather than intense emotional reactions. So there it is, my friends, your tip for the day. Again, keep in mind how we spike up, we get triggered, but there are things that we do that we're already doing, like breathing, that can help us regain composure in that moment and learn to disengage from the heat of the moment to then re-engage in the calm of a much more emotionally intelligent workspace. I'm Dr. Debra Dupree. Thank you for joining me, and want to learn more? Got plenty of tips and tidbits for you. Visit me, www.relationships-at-work, or see me on Facebook or LinkedIn, Dr. Debra Dupree.